The month of June has come to a close. That means we're halfway through the year 2023. So I'm going to give you my picks for my top 5 favorite movies of the year thus far. Hi, my name is Nathan and I talk about a bunch of movies on this channel. If you're new here, down below in the comment section, share your picks for the 5 best movies of the year thus far. Over on my channel, I have more content like this. Check those out right now. And with that in mind, this year has just been a great year for movies. And I think that a lot of these movies are actually really good. There are some of them at the bottom that are not. But I think most of the movies this year are good. In fact, I believe all 5 movies on this list, I give an A as my score. So that's just how good of a year this is. I've seen 31 new releases thus far, so it's such a good year for films. And with that said, let me give you my picks. Kicking off the top 5, Air. This is a film that I wasn't expecting to like as much as I actually did, but it just managed to be a fantastic exploration of the rise of prominence of Michael Jordan and Nike, and also how the creation of the Air Jordan came to be. And I think because Ben Affleck hasn't directed a film in a long time, you kind of forget that as a director, he's won multiple Academy Awards, and he's kind of a top-tier director. And so this is a film that, I think all of Ben Affleck's his skill set just works in this movie. It's just naturally funny. To me, it solidified Ben Affleck as an A-list director, somebody who needs to direct more things. It's a movie that me, as a 13-year-old kid, shouldn't be interested in. This is a movie that tells a story about shoes, and I shouldn't really be interested in that. But Ben Affleck used magic to make it so entertaining. And it's just this inspiring, compelling, and uplifting story about how Nike, Michael Jordan rose to prominence. And for whatever reason, it's a movie that just manages to be so effective at what it's doing. Even though, for the most part, people are just in, office buildings and stuff like that. And so, this is a great example of how to do a biopic properly. Actually, literally today, the day I'm shooting this video, this morning, I woke up and rewatched Air, and I think this is the movie this year that I've rewatched the most. And so, this is just a great example of how to do a biopic correctly, and I thoroughly enjoyed what Ben Affleck did with it. In 4th place, The Covenant. This is Guy Ritchie doing a more serious film than his normal gangster Guy Ritchie characters, big personality movies, but it's him doing a more serious film. And I think in doing so, it's just a very compelling story about a man who just wants to rescue another man because he feels obliged to do it. And I think that's just something very compelling about that. Also, as a soldier war movie, the rescues that actually do take place with Jake Gyllenhaal, I think they are very thrilling, they're very intense, and the movie is just suspenseful throughout. And what was really interesting about it is that the interpreter and Jake Gyllenhaal's character aren't meant to be very likable characters, but you're rooting for them. For whatever reason, the movie makes you care about the characters, even though they're probably not good people, they're probably not written to be the most likable, but it's emotionally powerful once you see what ensues in this movie, and incredibly effective. And so, with nicely done action, more serious Guy Ritchie, I am all for it, and so this, to me, was one of the most compelling movies of the entire year. In 3rd place, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. This is a film that absolutely managed to be just as good as Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and also is just something really good, unique, and special in the world of animation. You have all these crazy multiverse variants showing up in this movie, and each of them is animated in a way where it's all different, unique, and creative. Even when they travel through different universes, the background, the color scheme, it's all wildly colorful, wildly crazy, and it's just a very crazy multiverse movie, but it also manages to explore what being Spider-Man is like, how being Spider-Man affects Miles, how lonely Miles is as Spider-Man. And that just gives it this bleak, depressing atmosphere, especially for a children's animated movie. And I think in doing so made it a very character-based comic book movie. It will most certainly be maybe the best comic book movie by the end of the year. I don't imagine a situation where a movie like Kraven the Hunter or The Marvels comes out that will be better than this movie. And it'll also probably be the best animated movie of the year. But it's just that it's an incredibly unique achievement as in animation, while also being a great Spider-Man movie with incredible Easter eggs all throughout it. And so I thoroughly enjoyed what they were able to do with this film, and I can't wait for Beyond the Spider-Verse to close out this trilogy of Spider-Verse films. Our runner-up is Extraction 2. 2023 seems to be quite the year for movies, especially action movies, as, let's just say, more than 50% of this list is compiled up of action movies. And this is definitely one of the best action movies I've ever seen. It has everything I absolutely love about action movies, but elevates it to this whole other level. Chris Hemsworth is just so good in the lead role. In both of the Extraction movies, he's definitely just, it proves that he can do a lot of things. He can play fun characters like Thor, but he could also play this very serious action hero. And what both of these movies do well is that they take a simple rescue mission, kind of like a throwback action movie, and execute it with excellence. But what I really think worked about this movie was the action itself. There's absolutely stellar and phenomenal stunt work and action sequences in this movie. And it's very large in scale. You just feel the spectacle of it. The one standout action sequence in this movie, of course, being this 20-minute one-take action sequence, 20-minute oneer, that, of course, there has to be secret cuts throughout, but a 20-minute oneer, that's just a phenomenal action sequence where it starts off with this prison fight, and then they start running around a car chase on a train with a minigun, shooting at helicopters, and it's all practical. And even though the director's a stuntman himself, he can direct a bunch of great things. And I can't believe the Extraction movies are streaming on Netflix, because I would love to see both of these movies in the theater. But coming in first place for me, the best movie of the year thus far, John Wick Chapter 4. Now, 2023 has been quite the year for action, because in my top 5 movies of the year thus far, three of the 5 movies are action movies: The Covenant, Extraction 2, and this movie. But I think this movie was actually a lot more emotional, and I think it's very good. Right off the bat, the action sequences are massive in scale. The final one in particular being like this 40-minute long sequence where it's just pretty much several action sequences combined to one, where he's falling downstairs and he's fighting in traffic, and it all just stands out. And it has the best action choreography in all of the John Wick films. But beyond that, I think of all the John Wick movies, this might be the most focused one, where you know exactly what John Wick is trying to do, what every single character is trying to accomplish. I think in doing so, it creates not only somebody that you want to follow on this 3-hour action movie epic, but also a villain that you want to see defeated. And what ultimately elevates it is that it feels a lot more satisfying than John Wick Chapter 2 and 3. Where at the end, since they have a cliffhanger, I'm not completely sure that would be the most satisfying ending, But this movie actually comes to a definitive resolution. Despite it being 3 hours, it's very nicely paced and it was entertaining from beginning to end, especially since I saw it in the context of a 10:30 screening and didn't get home until 1 something. And there's memorable characters all throughout it, whether you're talking about a big standout here, Kane, the blind man played by Donnie Yen. Now, of course, you could pick at the logic all throughout this movie, but I don't really care. I love action movies, and as somebody that loves action movies, this is my favorite movie of the year. But honestly, there's a lot of directions this list could have gone. You know how good of a year 2023 is when Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 isn't even in my top 5. And I thoroughly enjoy that movie. So, without question, I think 2023 has been one of the best years for movies thus far, and I think the best year of this movie in the first 6 months is John Wick Chapter 4. There you have it. Those are my picks. Down below in the comment section, share your picks for your 5 favorite movies of the year thus far. Over on my channel, I have more content like this. Check those out when this video is over, but check those out right now. I have a video right here somewhere. And click that like button. Be sure to subscribe if you want more content like this. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end, and I will see you in the next one.